What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, and how are you all feeling after last night? West Ham lost by 3-1, which means we know what it means. Spurs need to get 1 point from their remaining 2 games. But let's just bloody hope we finish it tomorrow. I just do not want this going to the last day, people. This cannot go to the last day. And, and you know what? A lot of people already acting like Spurs are already safe, and that is just not the case right now. We know
some people have accused us of acting like Spurs are already safe.
We're not. I mean, I said it yesterday. We need to do the business.
Yep.
We cannot go and rely on West Ham to lose to Leeds. We cannot leave anything to chance. We need to do our business, and we need to get at least a point tomorrow night, in my opinion. So let's get the job done. We'll speak on the match preview in a little bit. But Roberto De Zerbi has been speaking in the press regarding our team news going into the big clash at Stamford Bridge tomorrow. In terms of James Maddison, he said that at the beginning of this week, he didn't work for a small problem, but yesterday and today, James worked very well. He's a different player, a special player. He's not ready for 90 minutes. I want to speak to him tomorrow morning and take the best decision we can. So, yeah, he's kind of suggesting there was a minor setback after all. He felt something after the Leeds game, but has been back training the last couple of days.
Yeah, I don't know if setback, but
he felt something.
He felt something, which is not unusual probably after coming back from an ACL, but he didn't rule him out. So hopefully he's on the bench and hopefully he gets a few more minutes than he did against Leeds. We'll have to wait and see. Even if it's 5 minutes at the end of the game, whatever it is, we're going to need him, I think, to see if we're holding on to result, whether we're chasing the game. I think he's going to be very important. He's such an important influence on the team, isn't he? Just having him around the dressing room is brilliant. And I think you saw the impact he made against Leeds when he came off the bench. He did make a difference to us. We did improve, I think. So, yeah, it's not great that he's, after coming back from an ACL and he's felt something during training, but it sounds like he's had a good couple of days, so let's hope he's available to play.
Yeah, absolutely. On Guillermo Vicario, we kind of were suggesting that maybe we've seen the last of him in a Spurs shirt. However, he says that Vicario is available to play and he'll decide tomorrow. He's asking, he was asked by Ali Gold, is it a difficult decision to play him or Kinski, and he says no, it's not a difficult decision. Vicario is the number 1, but we have to consider the physical condition, the moment, everything. But I have a big relationship with Kinski and Vicario, and there will not be any problems. I mean, that to me did suggest that he's just going to stick with Kinski for this game.
Yeah, if you watch the press conference, there was actually like a question in between that. So he asked, is it a difficult decision? And he said, no, not difficult. And then he stopped his answer. And then Ali Gold said, well, you said Vicario is number 1, so is it not difficult to pick which one's going to be? He goes, yes, Vicario is number 1, but there's physical, you got to consider physical things. He was kind of implying he's not going to give Vicario the shirt back just yet, and Kinski's going to play. So I think Kinski deserves it. Even if Vicario was 100% fit, I think Kinski should be playing. I think he's been brilliant. He's been one of our outstanding players, if we're being honest, over the past 5 games since De Zerbi has come in. So I think he's earned that spot. I think the rumours around Vicario leaving as well doesn't bode well for him being bought into the whole De Zerbi project at this point in time. I understand he's a big player in the dressing room. He's part of the leadership group. So I doubt Vicario will come in and not try his best. Of course he would, but I do think the likelihood is he is leaving in the summer. And I think right now you've got to start looking to the future. And there's no reason to drop Kinski as well. It's not like Kinski's let us down. He's been brilliant, and he's earned his spot. And I think Vicario wasn't exactly in the best of form. I understand he had the hernia, so that probably impacted him. But right now, I think Kinski's the man to go with. So I think right now, given the defence is doing well, he's doing well, there's no point shaking it up.
Absolutely. And you know what I feel? I feel that if we get the business done, I think Kinski will play tomorrow. And I think if we get the business done, I think Vicario might start the last game of the season just to say goodbye or something like that. If we haven't got the business done, I think Kinski retains his spot for the last game.
Yeah, I think so.
And Solanke, not great news from De Zerbi on Solanke. He says he is not good yet, not available. He feels something. I don't want to take the risk for this game. We hope for Sunday. So all that cryptic messaging from Solanke in midweek of him posting a picture of him scoring against Chelsea, it seems though this game might come a bit too soon for him.
It's probably why you shouldn't read too much into cryptic Instagram posts, I would say. It's a shame because, as we've said before, every little helps right now. And Richarlison's running himself into the ground. He seems to be absolutely knackered after an hour every game. He's even kind of taking breaks in between games and not training sometimes because he's just so fatigued. So the fact that Solanke isn't going to be able to help us is not great. But look, we've been getting points without him, and hopefully I can continue anyway.
Let's talk about Cuti Romero now. He did have some comments to make on Christian Romero in the press conference. He says he's a big player. He's an amazing guy because he's a great captain in my time. Even though he didn't play, we were talking by phone when he stayed here. Every morning he came into my office. I don't know if he's going to stay, but listen, we have to play another 2 games when a player is available. He was asked if he's going to play before the end of the season. He says, I don't know. But listen, we have to play another 2 games when a player is available after a long time injured. It's a big problem because the decision is tough. However, Cuti Romero was pictured doing individual training at Hotspur away over the last 24 hours. We've got the video there if you want to bring it up, which I thought was pretty interesting. I think he's working there with the Argentinian fitness coach. If you scroll down, yeah, this one. If you bring that up, there you can see Cuti Romero in his Spurs gear at Hotspur Way doing individual training. And a lot was made out of last week regarding Cuti Romero saying that he's staying at Tottenham. He made the decision to stay with Tottenham. However, an account has just posted a picture of him at Cordoba Airport, where he's just landed in Argentina today, which is very interesting, for the final between his old club Belgrano and River Plate. And apparently he arrived on a flight from Madrid Airport.
Interesting.
Bring up that picture as well.
So when is the final?
This weekend, apparently.
This weekend?
Well, actually, I keep thinking it's the weekend.
It's not the weekend. So is he going to be in? So is he in?
The final's on Sunday, yeah.
Sunday coming up?
Yeah.
So he's not going to be here for the final 2 games of the season?
Apparently not.
That's very interesting. I mean, he should be. I mean, as you say, if he is here, if he is there, we don't know if he's actually there for the final, I guess. But if he is there for the final and he's there a week early when we have 2 games to go, it's not great, is it? Considering there was all this hullabaloo about how he's, sticking with the team, which obviously we've seen him celebrating and everything with the team on the touchline and stuff like that. So we'll see. I don't know if he'll be in the stadium tomorrow, if he's just there now, or if he's there.
If he arrived in Argentina today, I think it's highly fanciful he's going to be in the stadium tomorrow.
Who knows? I don't know. The private jets can travel very quickly. But yeah, I mean, that's not great from him. Obviously, ZERBI's been talking up his captain credentials. Yeah, he's been saying what a great captain he's been, and he said he's been talking with him every day in his office and everything like that. But I thought it was quite interesting, his answer to is he going to be here next season. He said it's a good question. It's not for now, but it's all about whether the player wants to be here, and and there's a decision to be made after the season. And I think that was kind of implying for me that Romero probably wants to leave. Obviously, it's no secret that he's not happy with how things have gone this season for sure. So I think there was kind of hints there from ZERBI about where Romero's head is at. But I think while he's here, while he's captain, he should be here with the team 100%. And I don't think he should be. Look, if he's obviously on days off, whatever, if it was over the weekend in Argentina, I have a massive problem with that. But when it's game time, he should be here with the team, especially when there's so much on the line and we've got 1 point to make and it's not finished. The job's not done.
In 24 hours, in 48 hours, you've had reports saying Romero has made the decision himself to stick by the team from now until the end of the season. And then you have the pictures and videos of him training at Hotspur Way, and now you have him landing in Argentina. I just found it a bit odd, really. But we'll see what happens. But let's talk about Luka Vuskovic, because here's another interesting one. First of all, congratulations to Luka Vuskovic for being confirmed in the Croatian squad for the World Cup. So very much looking forward to that. His first game is against England in the World Cup. So that's going to be a tasty one.
It's mad to think. I think in even January time, he was still playing under 21s, wasn't he, for Croatia? And what an unbelievable rise. He's now made his debut, even scored for Croatia on his debut. I think it was against Colombia. And now he's going to the World Cup. And, there's probably a decent chance he starts at this rate.
I think he will start, yeah. I think he will. Hamburg have confirmed today that on July the 1st, that Vuskovic will return to Tottenham Hotspur.
Well, that's no surprise, is it?
That's happy news that we think about. Because, a few months ago, we were talking about him going back to Hamburg.
Yeah, but while the decision has to be made, he's obviously going to come back, isn't he? He's not going to go straight to he's not going to retain at Hamburg unless the decision was made that he's returning. He's always going to come back.
Peter O'Rourke is saying that De Zerbi is ready to throw Luka Vuskovic in at the deep end next season. I firmly believe that Vuskovic is going to be a starting centre-back for us next season. I really do.
And I'm excited about the prospect. I was watching some compilations of him last night again, which, they're unbelievable, man. His passing range, his defending, the goal scoring. The guy scored a free kick, a penalty, a scorpion kick. He scored headers. His quality knows no bounds. It's incredible. I'm excited about him. I think everyone's very excited about him. His meteoric rise is unlike anything I've seen from a Tottenham player, for sure, that kind of age. It's incredible. So I'm really excited to see what De Zerbi can do with him. I think De Zerbi will love him. I think, obviously, there are question marks about him in the Premier League and how he'll be suited to it and his pace, and those will obviously be resolved. But the guy is 19. He's got so much growing to do, so much learning to do, and I think De Zerbi could be the best manager for him.
Agreed. Alfie Devine, which is an interesting one, from Alan Nixon, saying Preston are now hopeful of completing a club record deal for Alfie Devine after agreeing a £4.5 million fee in advance of his season on loan. Preston are attempting to negotiate a payment structure that would allow a fee to be spread over the next 3 or 4 years. So we heard when he joined Preston that this $4.5 million is going to be way too much for Preston. It would absolutely smash their record, and there's no chance of them paying it. But if I'm correct that they're going through some sort of takeover, or they've had a takeover in the last couple of months, and apparently they are looking to go for him completely, permanently.
I think that's actually not good news for Tottenham, because I think when you think about it, if he was to come back now, and if they couldn't afford him, I think he's probably worth a bit more than that after the season he's had. So I think they've probably left themselves a bit short. Obviously, the other loan spells have been decent, but not on this level. Obviously, this has been his best loan spell, and what's he got? Over 10 goal contributions, and he's consistently played pretty well, in the Championship. So, a young player like that doing well. So I think Tottenham will probably hope. I mean, if I'm Tottenham, wouldn't be agreeing any plan unless somehow that plan triggers the release clause. I don't know how exactly it works. I thought release clauses are, you put the money up front, but I don't know, there might be clauses and all that kind of stuff. It could be complicated. Maybe if they put a plan together to get the $4.5 million, even if it's over years, that still triggers it. So if that's the case, then there's nothing Tottenham can do. But if I'm Tottenham and there's a way of rejecting that $4.5 million, I would do it, because I think even if it's another loan spell, or even if they're looking to sell him to a different club, I think they can probably fetch a bit more than that $4.5 million.
Yeah. Ali Gold did suggest in his article a couple of days ago or last week, saying that if Preston were to get this deal over the line, $4.5 million, straight away, his value's trebled.
Yeah,
with what he's shown so far.
Trebled may be a bit much, but definitely he's doubled, I would say. Or at least I think like $8 million is probably about right. I think I've done about 12, maybe that's a bit high, but I think definitely nearer to 10. Like, I think that sounds about right to me, considering his age and how he's doing. So maybe if there's a case of, let's say, we will agree to a payment plan, but we insert a buyback clause or something, or a future sell-on fee, I mean, maybe then it's worth it for us.
Yeah, I'll definitely look to insert one of those clauses in 100%. Because I think this boy's got real talent, man. I really do. I think you saw in the pre-season a couple of years back under Ange, he was one of our best performers out of the whole squad in that pre-season. He really does have quality, and he's 21 years of age. It is kind of getting to a crossroads with him now, though. Like, you got to decide what you want to do. Like, I know they've got the clause there, but let's say Preston don't take it up, right? It's still, you've got a big decision to make on Alfie Devine. Do you want to keep him around the squad? Is it another loan spell? How many more years do you want to loan him out? Like, there's big decisions to be made.
Yeah, I don't see him being part of the first team, unfortunately, as well as he's done. Unless he really impresses the ZERBI in pre-season and they think he could be better than what we've already got. I don't see him being there, but I think most likely selling him with inserting some clause. I think that's probably the best way to do it.
You're upsetting Daigle now.
Sorry, Ryan. Sorry, Brian. I mean, I wouldn't mind giving him a go. I just can't see it happening.
Mikey Moore there's been some comments made by Danny Roll on him, and Danny Roll has confirmed that Rangers will work on re-signing Mikey Moore on loan again next season. And he says that we're very clear as a club what we want. There are still 3 parties involved, and we are just one of them. Mikey, I think, fits really well here. I totally believe we can bring him to the next level as well. But we have to do a lot of things right now, and that is our job to do. We are clear. We will try everything. Maybe if there's a chance and it makes sense to wait for him, then of course we'll wait. So obviously Danny Roll knows what he wants next season, and that's Mikey Moore.
They're trying all they can, can't they, to say all the right things. I don't think Mikey will be returning next season. I think he probably either a different loan spell or maybe even part of the first team next season. I think ZERBI will have a really good look at him.
I think it will be another loan for Mikey.
Yeah, most likely. Most likely, I would say. But yeah, I think they're trying to persuade him. Obviously, he's had a great loan spell there. He's earned the love from the fans, so he knows there's a place there which the players, the club appreciates him, the fans appreciate him, and so it would be kind of like an easy kind of go back to. I mean, but how much does it really help his development? I mean, I guess if he goes to the league and then smashes it even more than he has,
if he gets Player of the Year instead of Young
Player of the Year, then maybe you could say he could aid his development even more. I think just playing will aid it naturally, but I think going to a bit of a higher level will do him the world of good. And if he's going even the Championship or Premier League side or maybe the Bundesliga, something like that, where he's playing regularly at a higher level, I think that will do him the world of good for me. Obviously, you risk upsetting what has been a quite a good situation for him, where he seems a bit settled now and he seems in a place where he's happy. So you're obviously risking that, but I think when a player should learn that, those are the different challenges you have to go through, and I think that's good. That'll be good for his development to put him in a different environment and have to battle for his place again. So I think I'd love him to go on a Bundesliga loan. That would be great. Get sent to Dortmund or something.
I want to see him in English football, man. I want to see him, let's say, in the Premier League or even the Championship, somewhere like that, fighting for the top of the Championship, or even at a Premier League club where he can, really get used to the physicality of this league. I think that would be probably the best. But I wouldn't be against the Bundesliga loan, not at all. I think it would be really good for him, 100%. All right, let's talk about some potential transfers now, some interesting ones. First of all, we're going to talk about Curtis Jones of Liverpool. The Times are reporting that Tottenham staying in the Premier League will determine whether they revisit a move for Liverpool midfielder Curtis Jones. So obviously, you saw the links to Alex Scott a few days ago. If it's between these two players, Curtis Jones or Alex Scott, for me, Alex Scott. What about for you? Because you're surely not going to try and get both of them.
No, you won't get both of them. I think I'll probably go for Alex Scott just because we need, I think, people in that dressing room who really care about the club, and I think that would really help. I think Jones, in a weird way, probably is more what we need as a team, because I think his ability on the ball and technical ability and his ability to, get the ball moving, passing it, I think ZERBI would really appreciate his qualities. But it's a difficult one. Alex Scott is just someone who loves Tottenham, who's a Tottenham fan, and he's growing so quickly, and maybe he could become what we need. Who knows? Maybe with the development under ZERBI. So I'm kind of happy with either, but I think the lure of Alex Scott is just a bit too much. When you have an opportunity like that, a Tottenham fan, there's just not too many. Whereas Curtis Jones would be coming here because he's obviously our favourite Liverpool, and he just wants an opportunity to go somewhere where he's playing more. Whereas Alex Scott would really want to be here, kind of thing.
But in terms of what they both bring to the table, I mean, Alex Scott's a phenomenal player. Curtis Jones is a good player, don't get me wrong. But I still say Alex Scott has been a lot better than Jones this season.
He has, and obviously they're both English, aren't they? And only one's going to be in the World Cup squad, and it's not going to be Jones, is it? So I think that goes to show where the manager, where Tuchel's mind is at, when it comes to how good he rates his players. So yeah, I think Scott is probably a better player than Jones, to be honest. But I do like Jones, and I do like what he brings. I think he's been pretty good for Liverpool, to be honest, and I think his qualities would suit us. I really think that.
Next up, we got a few rumours from Spurs ITK SZY. Make of these what you will. But apparently he's claiming that Spurs have been offered the chance to sign Gonçalo Ramos this summer. Would you want another scrap off PSG?
I don't know. I mean, he hasn't done that well, has he?
No.
Since he's gone there, he's really kind of flattered to deceive. Obviously, he had a brilliant scoring record for, Benfica. And then I remember he scored a hat-trick, didn't he, for Portugal? Was it at the Euros or the World Cup? I can't remember. But I remember him scoring a hat-trick.
It was like early on in the tournament, wasn't it? And everyone's just like, wow, this guy.
I remember, I think Ronaldo got dropped and he came in and
Yeah.
he scored a hat. I think it was against Switzerland or something. I think they won like 6-1 or something. He scored a hat-trick and everyone was like, okay, this kid is serious.
See, he's got into double figures his first 2 years at PSG. This year, he's only scored 6 goals.
Yeah, he just hasn't. I mean, when you look at that front three of PSG, he's just a completely different kind of player. He's more your traditional number 9, fox in the box kind of player. Whereas they've been playing Dembele, they've been playing Kavisha, Doué. He's just very different to those players.
He's been better for PSG than Moani was.
Yeah, I mean, true. And he's been kept around. I mean, Ramos has been touted to leave even after one season, wasn't he? They've kind of been happy to get rid, it seems, and they don't really rate him that highly by the looks of things. Do I want him at Tottenham?
Season-long loan?
Yeah, I mean...
We're going back in for that again?
I don't know. I don't really... It's hard to judge because PSG play a very different kind of, very high-level kind of football. And, you know, just because he failed there doesn't mean he's a bad player. And we know that other players have left and done well and whatever. And I've liked some of what I've seen, but I don't know. He might be a bit stiff maybe to play under ZERBI. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure about him. I liked him when he was at Benfica. I thought this is a serious talent, but then we've been fooled by a lot of players who've done really well at Benfica. Look at Darwin Núñez scoring buckets of goals. I think he replaced Núñez, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then he did well, and then he got that big. They spent a lot of money to get him, and he hasn't just hasn't done well. But you are battling against a player who just won the Ballon d'Or in Dembele, so it's not like it's an easy gig to try and get that first team spot, is it? So
interesting, because there's rumours that Ousmane Dembele is injured for the Champions League final.
Yeah.
If he doesn't get fit, does he play?
I don't think so, because I think they put Barcola in and probably put Doué or Kavisha up front. That's what they've been doing. So I don't even think he plays even with that. Would I want Gonçalo Ramos? I mean, part of me says no, but then I'm like, well, how much better realistically going to get like right now where we are? I mean, are we going to get a striker who's on form, banging in the goals at the highest level and convince them to come to us? Well, when we've just hopefully finished 17th, you know, we might not have, but if we do, you know, it's going to take a lot of convincing. So what kind of striker am I expecting if it's not someone like Gonçalo Ramos?
The thing is, if we sign him, we're not going to sign him. We're not going to buy him. It would be a loan with a heavily subsidised wages, because surely he must be on massive wages at PSG.
Yeah.
They signed him for big money, didn't they? So if we were to sign him, I can't see us signing him unless it's a loan with subsidised wages.
But who knows? Maybe ZERBI can get the best out of him. Maybe.
Let us know your thoughts. Would you want to see Gonçalo Ramos at Spurs?
My gut is saying no.
Next season.
My gut's saying I don't want him.
Yeah, me as well. Just the thing is, right, if Moani didn't happen this year, you'd probably say yes. But because Moani's happened and we've got this guy from PSG who did crap at PSG and then he's come here and done crap, you're thinking, do we really want another one?
I know, but I don't know.
I know, but that is what goes through your mind, though.
Yeah, of course.
All right, let's talk about Nico Gonzalez. Again, ITK SZY saying that Nico Gonzalez is high on Roberto De Zerbi's list of midfielders for the summer window.
Interesting one.
What do you think of Nico Gonzalez?
It's a weird one. I've been quite impressed with him, to be honest, whenever I've seen him, but Pep just doesn't seem that impressed. And I think when he first came in, he was talking him up. He said he's like a mini Rodri. You know, I think when he first came in January, he was playing most games and he was doing quite well. And obviously, I think last season, City actually had quite a good January to the end of the season. I think that actually, if I remember rightly, they actually got the most points last season from January to the end, and he was playing a lot of the games. And it looked like he was a pretty good replacement for Rodri. And then this season has come around. Obviously, Rodri's come back a bit into the team, but still Gonzalez was playing quite a few games beginning of the season. But then he found himself out of favour, and even so, in the last few games, even when Rodri has picked up the other injury, I think it was against Burnley, Gonzalez hasn't been turned to, and he's gone to other players, even when Gonzalez should be the natural replacement. And he's said very cryptic things like, Bernardo fits us better right now. He's been playing well. He hasn't really taken him up. It seems as though he's out of favour and he's happy to sell him. He did score a great goal though recently, didn't he?
Fantastic.
Yeah, what goal? Who was that against? Was it the FA Cup?
Yeah, it was the semi-final.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
semi-final against Hampton. So he did have that moment, even in the last few weeks. For me, he looks like a good player. Like, he looks like a player who could do a really good job for us. And I think he's very young still. Well, he's young, and I think he has the necessary quality we need. I don't think he's been bad. Like, I haven't looked at him and think that guy is just not good when I've seen him.
So I'm just looking at his minutes. He started more or less the majority of games up until January. Then after January, he's only started one game, and that was the recent game against Everton where they drew.
Yeah. It's an odd one. Obviously, Rodri's played a lot more, which makes a lot of sense.
16 starts this season.
Yeah. But it seems as though he doesn't fancy him, Pep. So maybe there's an opportunity there. I would take him. I think he's been really good, and I think he could work really well under ZERBI.
Do you reckon he's that player that we need? You know, we keep talking about this player that can sit deep, high volume passing, dictate tempo of play. Is he that part?
Potentially. I think at the end of the day, where we are right now, you probably have to take some risks. Like, unless you're gonna get someone like who you absolutely know is gonna be that player, like say like a Locatelli or I don't know, whoever, like someone who's like that guy's gonna do it. You're gonna have to take a bit of a punt on someone, but you have to take like a educated punt. I think he would be kind of one of them for me. I would take him for sure. I think he's our best bet.
I think I would as well. And last but not least, we are going to go back in and talk about Morgan Gibbs White.
Oh, not this again.
That name gives us shudders down the back of our spine. SZY says Morgan Gibbs White is still open to a move to Tottenham if they do stay in the Premier League. However, there is still one big obstacle in the way of that, and that is the big man, Mr. Marinakis.
And he signed a contract. I don't know what the deal was. I don't know if they took away the release clause and all that kind of stuff. But
you fancy going back in for that again?
No,
this
I don't
summer?
even want to touch it. I don't even want to touch it, to be honest. I think it's too much work than too much problems than it's worth. He has had a brilliant second half of the season, hasn't he?
2 years left in his contract.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed to affect him all the whole transfer saga at the beginning of the season, didn't it?
This second half of the season,
he's been
phenomenal.
He's earning a Player of the Year award, nomination.
That goal he scored against Manchester United,
brilliant.
Oh my days, what a finish that was!
And he's got a hat trick, didn't he, against Burnley? I mean, he's been brilliant. I think when you cast your mind back to January, you were like, he's having a bit of an off season, and then since then, he's just been so good. He's earned, I don't know how, but he's earned himself a Player of the Year nomination. That's how good he's been. So he's proven that it's not just obviously a one-off. He's like a very good player. We knew he was a very good player, and I would love him at Tottenham, to be honest. I still think he's would be a very good fit, even for De Zerbi. If there's a deal to be done, I would look to do it, but I don't know if Marinakis would let it happen.
I know. It's bloody Marinakis, mate. Why does he hate us so much?
He'll let him go to Chelsea or something.
Why though? Why? I don't understand.
Because we're too big for our boots. We think we can use our top six muscle, and he ain't having it. He's not having it.
Anyway, that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all those news stories that we have spoken about today. There has been some interesting quotes from Toby Alderweireld in the last few hours. He's done an interview with Tom Allnut, and he was talking about would he be open to returning to Spurs in some sort of capacity, and he says, yeah, for sure, it's up to someone else to decide if I have those qualities and about the right position, but I would do everything in my power. I think I have good connections with the fans and the club. I know the club. I played there for 6 years. If Tottenham need help, I'm there. Why not? I think the other guys would feel the same. We had a wonderful team at that time. That was our strength. I think about Sonny, Harry Kane, myself, Jan Vertonghen. They were down-to-earth people, good guys. Always put the club number one. Those are the people that you want in your club. I mean, we dream of those days again. Harry Kane, Sonny, Jan, Toby. I mean, Poch as the manager. We yearn for those days back. We
100%.
really do. But
I mean, what capacity would he come back if you
coach, I guess.
Coach, sporting director?
Sporting director.
Yeah, I
would love Toby back as a coach. I really would.
Why not? I mean, it's hard to know how good they are as a coach. He's just retired, so it's kind of like we don't know how good he is. He might be a great coach. Some players don't make great coaches and some do. So he was always a very smart player. That's what I'll say about Toby. He was never like the quickest, was he? But he he seemed to not get caught out because how smart he was, his positioning. And he's obviously a brilliant passer of the ball. We all knew that about Toby. He was a bit of a class operator when he was at his best. So I always think he used his brain a lot more than maybe other centre-backs did because he had to, because he didn't have those physical qualities maybe that some other did. And so that kind of set him apart a lot. So from that point of view, I think he probably would be. There's a lot of reason to think he could be a good coach and maybe a good coach in the centre-backs, and having those centre-backs that we have been coached under him could be great. Obviously, football's a bit different now to how it was when he was playing, but like 10 years ago, but for us anyway in the Premier League. But I think his qualities, I mean, as a player, could definitely suit what we're looking for, potentially as a coach. So I'd love to have him back. But it's
just
about
coaching those pings. That's all we need.
Exactly. Those long. Well, I think Vuskovic already seems to have a good ping in him, and then maybe Toby can perfect it for him. But I mean, sometimes when I look at those videos of Vuskovic, it reminds me of Toby. Sometimes those pings over the top. But I think it's great that we have him willing to help. But it's a difficult one. Just because he's a former player doesn't mean he's got the quality to coach at Tottenham at this current level. But I'm willing to give it a go if ZERBI wants him.
When I looked at him and Vertonghen, I always thought Vertonghen would make a really good coach. I never really thought the same about Alderweireld, but I'm willing to give it a go. That's for
Why
sure.
not? Why not about Toby?
I think the more people that know about the club that are in there, I think the better, to be honest. And I think he'll be such a good role model to have around the place for these young defenders that we have.
I think when Poch comes back, he'll come back.
Yeah, maybe. And interesting you say that, because he was talking about Pochettino potentially coming back. And he says for sure he'll go back to Tottenham one day. He wants it. The fans want it. I don't know the board, but I think when the manager and the fans want it, it will happen. He wants to come back and finish his job.
Yeah, I'm sure they probably still speak, don't they? Him and Poch, and there's probably talk about one day we'll go back there and get the job done. I think I'm starting to worry whether the time has passed or not, or it's still there.
He's such a young coach.
He is a young coach. But he also has to prove that he's adapting. The best coaches constantly adapt and they constantly evolve, and Poch just has to prove he is that still. I'm not saying he's not. I'm just saying it'll be interesting to see what his next job is. Let's see how he does in the World Cup. Maybe he'll have another job before Tottenham after that. We'll have to kind of keep an eye on how he does and if he's developing new ideas, because he was quite revolutionary when he first came to Tottenham, but that kind of way of playing and methods, they're not that revolutionary anymore. So can he revolutionise again? That's the question. Pep, the biggest, the most impressive thing about Pep at City is that every year he seems to come up with a slight variations on how he plays and that keeps everyone guessing. And which is why a lot of the time they have a poor first half of the season, getting up to speed with new ideas he's implementing, and then they go really strong in the second half because then they're fully implemented. And that's something maybe has Poch proven that. I think that's something we'll have to wait and see. But I would still love him to get another crack at it, and I still do believe in him as a manager and as his footballing ideas. But it's whether, let's say, in 2030 or whatever, he is still amongst like the elite coaches that we want. It's going to be interesting.
It's hard to know, isn't it? Because I feel like his choice of clubs have just been so poor. He's gone into PSG at a really tough time. As soon as they left, they had this whole big rebuild. He's gone into Chelsea at a really tough time. Didn't get sacked, just left because the visions didn't align with him and the board. And we've seen, Maresca was exactly the same. He left because the visions didn't align. Many managers have left since Pochettino. So I just feel like his choice of club has been a bit poor since leaving Tottenham Hotspur, and he needs a good decision really. And I think he'll get back in amongst it.
I hope so. I still have a feeling he'll be here. He'll come back one day, but I'm just starting to worry whether the time is passing or not.
He's talking about Cuti Romero, and he says, I think he's an unbelievable player in moments. For example, with the red cards, you don't help your team. When your team needs you, you need to be the captain steering the ship, not putting it in more trouble. He's a very good player, but he should have done better in some situations. For me, centre-backs are players that you need to count on, to be flawless, not crazy. Win you battles, be secure. That's the number one. Long balls, passes between the lines, of course that's a plus. But the basic is to be secure. A captain has to be aware. I don't think he's causing trouble, but not to be a risk to himself I call them trustful leaders. You need to be a calm person. So
Well, Romero's not a calm person. we know
Toby
that.
on Romero.
I mean, he's not wrong. I mean, that's exactly what Toby was, wasn't he? He was the kind of guy who was, we used to call him Rolls Royce. He wouldn't make any, I wouldn't say wouldn't make mistakes, but he was always kind of one step ahead. He wouldn't dive into things. He was a very different kind of centre-back to Romero. Romero obviously likes to get stuck in. He likes to go into full-blooded challenges. He likes to be a step ahead of the tackle, whereas Toby likes to read the game a bit more. Toby is the one who kind of, he doesn't want to make a tackle because he's already in the right position to pick up the ball, kind of thing, and he's in the right position to pick up any passes over the top. He's very different. When it comes to putting the club in trouble, obviously on the pitch, definitely this season especially, Romero's been doing that with some of the red cards. Do you think he was making any references to some of the comments he's been making?
Potentially. I think it's more on the pitch that he's talking about, to be honest.
Because he was talking about, I don't know if you have that quote, he said you have to be big. He was talking about, the club is bigger than you, and you don't want to be putting the club into disrepute. So I
didn't even see that.
Yeah, that maybe you didn't have that
part
one.
Of the same interview.
Yeah, which I thought was interesting. Which look,
that is definitely talking about it off the pitch.
Yeah, that's what. That line was left out, but because he said that, which I obviously when. No one really did that apart from maybe Danny Rose when he was at Tottenham. But also Tottenham was just a bit of a different thing then because we were a bit...
we were good.
Yeah, we were good. We were in a better place. We had Poch. Obviously, when Toby came in, we became a much better team. I wouldn't say there's nothing to be unhappy about because we all still had our disgruntlements even then. But I think now it's just very different. We're in relegation battles, like we're in the wilderness at the moment, and Tottenham was going in the right direction under Toby, so there wasn't any need for him to, come out publicly and criticise the board. But I also understand, as captain, is it the right thing? I think that's a fair question. I think as fans we like it because it gives a little peek behind the curtain as to how the players are feeling behind the scenes, and I think we also have our frustrations, massive frustrations with the board. So hearing your captain feeling the same way you do about the frustration about the club run can be gratifying in some way. But there definitely is an argument to say, should your club captain be making those statements publicly and causing whirlwinds in the media and stuff like that? Obviously, Liverpool going through something similar at the moment with Salah. He's making these statements, and there's a big argument. Some people don't mind it. Some people saying, "Oh, he shouldn't be putting these grenades in, at this time of the season or whenever, and leaving, and it's disgrace." So people have their different opinions, but I think Toby. The only thing I'd say about it is, yes, he didn't do that, but there was less need to. It was a bit of a different situation, I guess, back then.
But when Danny Rose was coming out, talking about player wages, and they were getting paid so much less than teams that they were outperforming and stuff
players
like that.
googling players.
Yeah, that as well. I mean, I have no doubt in my mind that the majority of the dressing room felt like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the big case is they all wanted to keep it in house, and whether they complained about it or not behind the scenes is a different story. You don't know what situations lead to Romero going public with it all. He could have been complaining he could be speaking to people behind the scenes, and then nobody listens, and then he feels like he has to go public. So it's hard to comment too much about it when you don't know what goes on behind the scenes leading up to it as well.
But also I think the difference with Romero is obviously we're losing game after game. The players are getting slaughtered, right, by the fans, by the press every week. And so maybe he felt like he had to stick up for the players in the dressing room, all that kind of stuff, and battle against a narrative. Whereas for Toby and them lot, it was different. We saw the players were good. All the fans loved the players. We knew they needed help from more investment and stuff. We all knew that, but we kind of knew they weren't the problem. Whereas here it's kind of the players are constantly being questioned and being called out and said they're not good enough. It's the players' fault. All this kind of stuff. So he kind of felt the need to say something. Whereas they kind of felt assured that they knew that the fans didn't think they were the problem.
Yeah, it's a good point. All right, well, that's the Toby Alderweireld comments. Let us know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding them. It is now time to move forward, look forward to tomorrow, and focus on this massive game at Stamford Bridge, people. We're going to get into our predicted lineup first and foremost. So, what is the team news, Sim?
The team news is Solanke is still out, so the rumours he was going to make it for this game, but he's going to be unavailable. Romero back in individual training, but he's not going to make it. Vicario, though, he is available for this one, so whether you think that's good news or not, he's available. And who was the other one? Maddison felt something slight, ZERBI said, after the game against Leeds, but sounds like he still should be on the bench and maybe hopefully getting some minutes. I mean, on screen you can still see the long-term injuries: Simmons, Odegaard, Davis, Kudus, Kulusevski, which no one's even asking about Kulusevski anymore. They're obviously still out. But
No one's asking about Davis either.
Yeah, Davis, yeah. So we'll have to see what happens with them. But yeah, I mean, not the best news going into this one.
Yeah. But it's a big opportunity for Spurs this weekend, or this week, this Tuesday night. We can get the job done. All this conversation about staying up, going down, could be ended on Tuesday night. So we have the chance to relegate West Ham. We've got a chance to save ourselves. So let's get into this predicted lineup. 4-2-3-1 as per usual. As you say, Vicario is back and in contention. But judging by ZERBI's comments, judging by the way I feel about the situation, I think Kinski starts.
I think he starts as well. I think it will be Kinski in goal. 1 second. Yeah. I think it will be Kinski in goal. I think he deserves this place. There's no reason to drop him, in my opinion. And I think given what ZERBI's saying, like, yes, Vicario is number one, but why does it keep changing? Sorry. Vicario is number one, but he said we have to think about his physical, whatever, his physical condition and all this kind of stuff. I think judging by that, it sounds like he's readying to maybe let Vicario down a bit and basically tell him, look, you are number one, but you're not ready to play, and Kinski deserves a spot at the end of the day. After his performance against Leeds, you can't leave him out, surely. He was so good, so vital. I think it would send the wrong message out for me. So
agree.
I think Kinski has to play.
Yeah. Completely agree. I think, look, like I said before, I do feel if we get the job done here at Stamford Bridge, I think Vicario does play the last game. However, if it leaves it till the last day and we need that win, we need that point going into the game against Everton, I think Kinski retains his spot. So we'll have to see what we do on Tuesday night. Right back, obviously Pedro Porro. I think Pedro has been fantastic over these last couple of games. Really a warrior-like mentality. I think defensively he's been spot on. So yeah, I can't praise Pedro Porro enough the last couple of games.
Yeah, and I think you've seen him operate in a lot more central areas as well under ZERBI. I think that really suits him. So I think ZERBI's doing a really good job with him. I think he suits ZERBI football so much. And I think when you cast your mind back to how he was under Frank, I don't think he was great under Frank. A lot of people were complaining about him, says he needed to be sold. I've always maintained this guy is a top quality right back.
Frank said he's our only world-class player.
Yeah, he did. Well, that was rumoured, wasn't it? That's what he thought. I don't think he got the best out of him, and I think ZERBI's already showing what he's capable of, and I think, as you say, he's done a really good job. So yeah, he's obviously going to start. Yeah,
I just love how he affects us in build-up, particularly under ZERBI, the way he comes into the midfield and Paulinho drops the right back. I think it's a bit of a masterstroke from ZERBI, the way he's managing that situation. But yeah, Pedro Porro right back, right centre back, Kevin Danso. Look, I think he's done well. He's done well since stepping in for Romero. Obviously, if he doesn't make that mistake at the end of the Brighton game, we're probably safe by now.
Yeah.
But we are in this situation. He is playing well, and he's going to be vital.
Yeah, and hopefully he continues as we mean to go on. He's already said to ZERBI, hasn't he, that he wants Danso here next season, which I think is quite interesting. But look, he's performed admirably. He's come in a difficult time and stepped up by and large. So fair play to him. And yeah, he's definitely going to start in this one, I think.
Left centre-back will be Mickey van der Ven, captain on the day. He's just flipped 360, hasn't he? Or 180, yeah. 180, I would say. He's flipped 180 since ZERBI's come in. You really see the passion for the badge again. You really see he's playing for the manager. You can see the love he shows at the end of the games towards ZERBI. So if we do stay up, I think he's going to stay.
Yeah, there's already talk of that, which is... would have been fanciful a few weeks ago, thinking about Van der Ven staying, but now all of a sudden it looks like there's a good chance of it. So he's been brilliant. I think if we're going to get anything out of this game, he's going to be have to be at his best. So, yeah, I think he's back. He is back to his best. That's what it looks like at the moment, which is great.
And then to make up that back four, I think Destiny Udogie at left back. I think he started the last 2 games now, Dest. And yeah, I wouldn't say he's been playing at his best the last 2 games, but definitely adds more than what Jed Spence has at left back.
I think he just helps the balance of the team. It's not even necessarily him. It's just what his presence helps the dynamic, and that just stretches the pitch more. We get down round the outside a bit more, and I think we look better going forward down the left when he's in the team. So I think he does make a big difference. Hopefully next season he gets some support. But yeah, I'm likely to be up against Cole Palmer in this one, which is a interesting kind of matchup because
he will eat him up for dinner.
Well, if Palmer tries to beat him for pace, he will. But Palmer's not that kind of player who tries to beat players for pace. So he's gonna have to play against him a bit differently than he usually
Palmer
does.
will come on the inside, and then Mickey van der Ven will eat him for dinner. But anyway, that's the back four. Into the midfield, I think on the right-hand side of the double pivot will be João Palhinha.
Yeah, I think didn't have his best game against Leeds. I thought much better against Villa. But I just think those intangibles right now, probably, we just need that grit, determination, and we need someone who's going to just dominate physically in that middle. So he says he's talking about how much he loves him. So I do think he's going to retain his place, yeah.
And alongside him will be Rodrigo Bentancur. I mean, he's been a real difference since coming back in off his injury. He's been fantastic. I thought against Leeds, he was head and shoulders our best player in the first half, and he tired a bit in the second. And I think if you have these players, if you have João Palhinha and you have Bentancur at their physical best, I think they will dominate that midfield. It's not because they're better players than what Chelsea have. I just think they're going to have that bit more energy than what those Chelsea midfielders have off the back of the FA Cup final.
Yeah, I think you saw in the FA Cup final, Caicedo went down with a niggle, and Enzo as well. I think you look at the likely 3 Chelsea are going to play, probably if they go first choice, it's going to be Enzo, Caicedo, and maybe Santos. That's what Lewis was saying. So you look at that, obviously Caicedo, when he's at his physical best, he can run like 2 players, but I think Enzo struggles sometimes physically, and Andre Santos I'm not 100% convinced about. So I think there is a chance for us to, if we press them and really just press how we did maybe a Villa away, and even at times against Leeds, they might struggle. They might struggle.
And then in the number 10, it's going to be a return to Stamford Bridge for Conor Gallagher. It's going to be interesting to see the dynamic here with Conor Gallagher, because cast your mind back a couple of years back, we went to Stamford Bridge and they had this whole tifo that said Chelsea from birth. They loved him. We were walking through the streets of Chelsea. All you can hear filtering out the Chelsea pubs were songs about Conor Gallagher. Absolutely adored him, a Cobham lad and a Chelsea fan. But he is coming back to Stamford Bridge in a Spurs shirt. So it's going to be interesting to see. He could be like the pantomime villain of the day.
Yeah, what were the quotes ZERBI spoke? He said, from Conor, I expect the same performance. He's been doing great play, great personality. He doesn't speak too much, but he speaks on the pitch with his work and his personality. So that is what he had to say about Gallagher returning to the Bridge. Obviously, I think he's been a lot better since ZERBI's come in. And I think his energy is going to be so important in this game. If we can if we can beat Chelsea for intensity and energy, I think Gallagher is going to be a major part of that. Let's hope we find a little bit of quality in the final third like we did against Villa as well. Didn't see too much of that against Leeds, but I think he's going to be a very big player in this game. I wonder if his every touch is going to be booed or not.
I think it will be.
Probably will be, yeah.
I think it will be, and I think that the Spurs fans will be singing Conor Gallagher chants throughout the game as well. I think it's going to be...
Need to come up with one.
Well, Conor Gallagher.
There you go.
That's what's going to
get that going.
It's already been going. But I think if he scores, we were speaking to Lewis on the opposition preview, will he celebrate? It's going to be an interesting one. What if he scores like a last-minute winner to keep Spurs up? Or a last-minute equaliser to keep Spurs up? Is he not going to celebrate that?
Surely he celebrates that. You can't let an iconic moment like that go to waste. I know, maybe not. I think he's not planning to celebrate, I reckon.
But yeah, this is the first time he plays against Chelsea since leaving, isn't it?
It is. Don't remember him for Atletico playing against them, yeah.
So that's the midfield 3. On the right-hand side of the attack, I assume Randall Kolo-Muani is going to keep his spot.
Yeah, and we're not blessed with options, are we?
Yeah.
So... didn't have a great game against Leeds. Was a bit better against Villa. I think this game, in theory, might suit him a bit more than the Leeds game. But look, 2 more games of Muani. Let's just suffer through it. is what it is.
Left-hand side of the attack, Matisse Tell. Some high words, some big words from De Zerbi on Matisse Tell in the press conference, saying, he's got a great mentality on him and he's going to be a big, big player for us in the future. But look, you saw the best and the worst from Matisse Tell last game against Leeds. Stunning goal, horrific mistake. Let's hope he can do the former rather than the latter in this game.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting what he said. He said he's a very mature guy, maybe more so outside the pitch than he is on it, because he hasn't played that many games, maybe referencing some rash decisions he's made, obviously with the penalty, but also, crossing the ball. So yeah, look, he has that, he does that, and then he also has the quality to score at top bins from 25 yards. So unfortunately, when a player's that age, that's sometimes what you got to put up with. As a player's learning their craft, I think there's good quality there. Hopefully, he'll take the confidence of that goal he scored and not let the penalty affect him, because we know there's quality in those legs. So hopefully, he takes it into this game, and he could be the difference maker.
Yeah, he's had to suffer a lot of setbacks this season, hasn't he? From being left out the Champions League squad, to come back in it, then left out again, and then you know what I mean. It's just like been an up and down season for him. But I think whenever he's on the pitch, you can see a player that is trying a 1,000,000%. So I credit him for that. And up front, I think it'll be Richarlison again. Obviously, Solanke, De Zerbi confirmed that Solanke ain't ready for this game, so it's got to be Richarlison.
Yeah. Who's working his socks off. The only worry I have for him is if he hasn't really done anything before like the hour mark, then that's pretty much him done, which has been the case. So it's a shame we don't have Solanke to come on and help things. We don't have any other striker to come on and help things.
There is a little part of me that actually thinks Solanke's going to be on the bench.
You think he's just playing mind games?
I think he might be.
I hope so. I hope you're right. That would be great. And let's just hope Rishi can just do something. I think he's been doing all right since Zerbi's come in. He's making impact, and I think he's pressing. He's working his absolute socks off. But it's just hard for him when he has to play 90 minutes, such intensity, and he's already physically, not his best anymore. So it's not been easy. But I think he's been putting his all, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
And Richarlison, didn't he for Everton against Chelsea when that run-in scored the winner?
He did, yeah.
So relegation Richarlison against Chelsea.
Let's do it. So this is the lineup that we're going for. Kinski in goal, Pedro Porro right back, Destiny Udogie left back, a back two of Dan Soto and Mickey van der Ven, João Palhinha, Rodrigo Bentancur and Conor Gallagher in the midfield, Moani on the right, Ted on the left, Richarlison up top. We could have just saved you all about 15 minutes and just said unchanged from last week and the week before.
That's not how we do things.
But that is your predicted lineup. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you disagree, let us know who you think De Zerbi is going to go for in this massive game against Chelsea. Look, let's just go straight into it because we know the permutations going into this game. A point, and that's it. We don't need to talk about relegation again for a long time. Let's just hope that we can get the job done. We don't want it going to the last day, do we?
No.
Because then all those nerves start to come in, the anxiety starts to set in. We know the record at Stamford Bridge, but we also know the record at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I mean, are you more comfortable going to Stamford Bridge and getting it done or doing it at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium?
We have a worse record even at the Tottenham Stadium in the last 10 games at Stamford Bridge. It's insane when you think about it. But I don't think I'm more comfortable going to Stamford Bridge. No, there's just something in my intrinsically.
Even against this Chelsea team,
even
you saw how tired they were in their
yeah,
FA
maybe.
as well.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I can never ever be comfortable and confident going to Stamford Bridge. Never. I've never ever been comfortable. So I can't just change it now, even though all the situations going to. It just seems as though Chelsea just trumps all of that. Chelsea, Tottenham trumps everything. But let's hope I'm wrong on that one. But as you say, 1 point. That's got to be the focus. We need 1 point to survive, and we have to we got an opportunity here to put it to bed, get the point, take it away from the Bridge, and end this season, put it behind us, and we can just move forward. We don't want to leave this open. We got a chance to put this to bed, to finish it. We can't give West Ham another opening. We can't give them another chance. If we don't win this, if we lose this game, I think that gives West Ham another shot on the arm, another boost. Obviously, they got a decent home record as well. I think they beat Leeds. And then all of a sudden, the pressure ramps up on that final day at home when we haven't been good. All of a sudden, you go 1-0 down in that game and you think about the nerves and you think about how worried and the anxiety. And we've already seen how Tottenham react when that seeps into the team and into the crowd. This team, even under ZERBI, is not immune to that. We've seen us panic on a few occasions when there's anxiety in the team and on the pitch. So, you know, you don't want to leave that to chance. Anything can happen in one game. You can't leave it all up to one game. So I think it's imperative we get the job done. We have a chance to finish it. Let's finish it tomorrow. Let's finish it.
Completely agree. You're looking at the form, though, of these two teams. Is this the worst Chelsea team that we've actually faced in the last 20 years in the Premier League? It's got to be, right?
Yeah, it's even definitely worse than the team we faced 10 years ago, 100%.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look at the talent that team had 10 years ago. You know, nothing. I think this team has nothing on that.
No, not just the talent, which is undeniable. You know, the likes of Hazard, Costa, Terry. But there's one thing you could never fault that Chelsea side when the going got tough. Even when they were having bad seasons, when they got to a big game like a cup final, or even like playing Arsenal for some reason. When they played Arsenal, they would always turn up. Like they had a certain mentality when it came to big moments. They could always show up. You could never take anything for granted against that Chelsea team, and they knew with some of those players in that team, again, you know, when Tottenham came to town, they had the players with that mentality that they could just show up, and you could never ever take it for granted. This Chelsea team just don't have that same mentality. You see it even they've not won a cup final now in domestically at Wembley for 7 years or 7 attempts.
4 FA Cup finals in a row they've lost.
4 in a row. The mentality just isn't the same as it was back in that side. And also, I think there isn't as many players in that dressing room who really feel, you know, what it means to be at Chelsea like it did 10 years ago. So I think there's definitely a mentality problem at Chelsea compared to other Chelsea sides. They're very young team. So they're very much, you know, at the whims of like inconsistency of very young players. And right now they're in an absolute rut. They're obviously a bit better now than they were maybe if you cast mind a few weeks ago. They've obviously beaten Leeds in the semi-final. They had a draw at Anfield. Not a bad performance in the cup final as well.
Tudor got a draw at Anfield.
It's true, but I'm just saying we're comparing to losing 3-0 to Forest and losing, you know, 3-0 to Everton and some of the performances they were putting in before. I'm not saying it's loads better, but it's just a bit better than maybe it was. So you've got to take that into account. But there's definitely, when you watch this Chelsea team, it is a Chelsea team that seems running on empty. They seem a bit lost. They seem to have lost that kind of motivation to really give that extra little bit to win games. And whether they have it back in this game, we'll have to wait and see, because it is Tottenham coming to town and they usually do find something extra against us. But I'm just judging. All you got to do is judge what you've seen so far in the last few games, and I don't think really McFarlane has changed tons, to be honest. I don't think it's like Chelsea are looking refreshed or anything like that. They just seem to be maybe giving a little bit more, and maybe there's just a few tactical tweaks that made them a little bit more difficult to play against. But I would say it's not like they'd be much better on the ball or anything like that. They still seem a little bit lost and a little bit devoid of direction, I would say.
Yeah, I completely agree. And you're looking at that home form of Chelsea. They haven't won at home since January, since the latter stages of January. They've lost 4 games in a row. It's just like I just don't understand this. You don't associate this with a Chelsea team. Even a poor Chelsea team, they were always good at home. They could always pick up points at Stamford Bridge. This team have just shown no ability in 2026 really to pick up points at Stamford Bridge, never mind away from home.
I mean, cast your mind back to, when was it, October or November? Chelsea are at home to Arsenal. They're down to 10 men in the first half. You're thinking that should be an Arsenal win. Yet they somehow drag a draw out of that. They score, they get a 1-1 draw, and they played really well in that game. They could have even won it, if I remember rightly. So that was the kind of Chelsea, that was the first half of the season. They were a tough team to play against. They were not an easy team. And now, ever since Rossini's come in, they've just lost all of that kind of tactical nous about them, it seems. They just seem to have given up on the project. Obviously, Alonso's now there. So how much of an effect
hasn't started yet, though.
He hasn't started, but we'll see if there's like renewed belief in the project of the club. It just seemed as though with Rossini coming in, and then McFarlane, it's like the players are probably looking at the situation, and we had Maresca, we had a good thing going. They've got, because of disagreement to the hierarchy and the manager, whatever, they've screwed it all up. They've let go of a really good manager. They've brought in a novice who had no right to be in this job, who the players don't really respect. And obviously he's playing... I don't even know if the brand of football is a problem. It's more just like the personality of the manager. It seemed just the guy, like, who is this guy? Why did you replace Maresca with this guy? He is not at the same tactical level, the same level as a manager than we just had. You know, you've already, you know, gone in different directions previously. Every summer you seem to have a rebuild. Every summer you're, you know, selling 10 players and bringing in 10 players, and you're young, lowering the age of the squad. You know, in the summer you sold Jackson, you sold... who else they sold? They sold the winger. I can't remember off the top of my head. Madueke. You're bringing in like Garnacho. You're bringing in Delap. You're probably worsening the squad summer on summer. Now then you're not just worsening the squad. You're worsening the manager, right? And if you're a player like Caicedo or Enzo or whatever, you're probably looking at this like, what the hell is going on? What are you doing? You can't get out of your own way, essentially. So that would obviously lead to a lot of disgruntlement, like, where's this club going? Why am I even here? I've signed an 8-year deal, you know, to be at this club because I've bought into the long-term future, and now I feel more of like a prisoner because I'm stuck here because I can't move because you bought me for 100 million and I've signed an 8-year deal. Well, no, there's no way of me even getting out of this club at this point. So that could obviously lead to a lot of disgruntlement and a lot of like, where is this club going? But now they've got Alonso, all of a sudden, do the players start looking at it thinking, okay, maybe, you know, with him coming in, if we do have a decent summer, there is a pathway forward. There can be renewed kind of vigour and confidence in the club and the project with that kind of figurehead. They've given him the title as manager, not head coach, so they're signaling, we're going to give this guy more power. We're going to give him, you know, we're going to back him. Obviously, you got a kind of the actions speak louder than words kind of thing, but maybe with someone like announcing a manager like him coming into the club, that could give the players a little bit of renewed kind of optimism. Whether before it seemed as though they were kind of in the wilderness and they seemed lost. Whereas even though he's not actually managing, it might just give that players a little lift within the club rather than anything else. And maybe they'll want to fight for that place in Europe a little bit more than they would have if they didn't know that Alonso was going to be here next season.
Yeah, there definitely is that element to it. I'm not sure how much of an impact it has because I just think they're going to come into this really tired just off the bat, because it's not just they're off the back of the FA Cup final. Like Lewis said, they have not had a break since the Club World Cup. Mm-hmm. They're literally playing non-stop. They know they've got a World Cup just around the corner as well. The majority of the players are going to be playing in that. It's just like these Chelsea players are literally just running on empty right now. Mm-hmm. You know, they do have very good players there. You know, don't get me wrong. You know, you're looking at Caicedo, you're looking at Enzo, you're looking at Cucurella. I don't think it's not stacked with quality like it was 10 years ago, but there are still very, very good players in that Chelsea team. And, you know, you're talking about the bad decisions in the summer. Everyone was saying Liam Delap was a great signing for them in the summer because of the back of the season he had for Ipswich, scoring all those goals last season in the Premier League. And everyone thought, on the face of things, I think the narrative in the summer was Liam Delap would have been an upgrade on Nicholas Jackson. Just hasn't worked out that way, and Delap's have been, you know, pretty awful this season. So what I think is the biggest element in the game this weekend is going to be the fans. I really think the fans, you know, when you go to Stamford Bridge, the fans are on top of you, particularly when Spurs go there. There's that narrative where Spurs never do anything at Stamford Bridge, but are the fans going to have that kind of same veracity about them going into the game tomorrow, knowing how bad Chelsea have been? Do they have the palate to even fight for a Europa League spot? Is that what they want to be doing? I don't know. I just think the Chelsea fan base is just way too depressed for even that right now. And now we only need a point to stay up. Are they thinking, oh, all right, well, they're pretty much safe now anyway? So is there going to be that element going into the game this weekend? Is there going to be that kind of big atmosphere, which usually is when we go to Stamford Bridge?
I wonder if having McFarlane over like a Rossini for that might help them, because I don't know, has McFarlane, how long has he been there for? Is he a youth coach there? Like, is he a guy who knows Chelsea? Like, is he a proper Chelsea guy?
Well, he was there last time they lost the manager. He stayed in for a game as well when they drew with Man City, but I don't know how long he's been there for.
Yeah, because if he, I don't know, is he? I don't know if the chat knows, because if he is, maybe if he understands what this rivalry means a bit more than some of the other managers, maybe that could translate to the players, which, you know, maybe you got to worry about a bit. But I think it's important just to quieten the crowd. I think I do think at the start of the game you'll hear the crowd, you'll hear them. I think at the start of the game the fans will be up for it.
He's been there since 2025, so he's not even a proper Chelsea guy. He was at Southampton, Man City beforehand.
Okay, so he's not like a Chelsea, like come through there, like wasn't like academy manager or anything like that.
He's been there for a couple of years, 3 years.
Yeah, I think that element's still there though, because the fans know it. Obviously, it's 10 years since Battle of the Bridge. You look back, maybe he'll show them highlights of that game, saying this is the kind of fight that we need to show if we're going to get something out of that game. I think the fans are going to be cheering every tackle. They're going to be up for it early on.
I don't know if they will be though.
I think they will. I think they will, but it's all about us quieting them down. It's taking control of the game. If we get an early goal, all of a sudden, the thoughts flooding back of how bad they actually are, and reality
Spurs
sets
fans
in.
It's going to be a lot louder than the Chelsea fans tomorrow night.
I hope, might well be. I'm sure it's going to be a raucous atmosphere either way. But I think the Chelsea fans, obviously before the game, the form they're in, there's obviously not going to be much kind of optimism about optimism with the fact of how bad they've been playing, and there's not going to be that much belief that okay, we're going to roll Tottenham over. But if they do beat us and we force us to take to the final day, they won't want us to secure survival on their patch. They won't want that. The fans won't want that. They'll want to make it as difficult as possible for us. And there is going to be motivation there, but it's all about whether if we do take the lead and if we do take control of the game and we do kind of make sure that we quieten them down, we're the ones winning the duels, not them. We're the ones putting in the full-blooded challenges. Then all of a sudden, once reality starts to set in, then do they start to lose that belief and that hope, and can we quieten them down? And then maybe, if that happens, we can start to take control of the game.
Yeah, I mean, we say this every week, but I think it still stands this weekend about the first goal being vitally important. Mm-hmm. You've seen both clubs. You saw at Chelsea, Nottingham Forest a couple of weeks ago. Forest scored early doors, and then they just fell apart, didn't they, and go 3-0 down quite early. Whereas Spurs, you saw them concede that penalty to Leeds, and we started to shit the bed. We've seen it all season with Spurs. When we concede first, we haven't been able to pick up points. So if Spurs can get that early goal or a goal in the first half, something at Stamford Bridge, I actually think we can go on and win this game.
And I think in theory, when you think about it, just tactically, taking out the other stuff, I do think Chelsea, I know they've been playing a back three recently, but I think they're going to try and take the game to us, aren't they? They need to win, don't they?
And that suits us.
They have to win.
Yeah.
They're going to try and attack us. They're obviously not going to sit back. They're not going to try and ride out a draw or anything, because that doesn't help them anyway. They're going to come out and play and try and win. They're going to believe they can beat us if they do that anyway. So it's not like they're going to restrict themselves. They're going to try and really take the game to us. And I think that does probably suit ZERBI a bit more, because you saw against Leeds, especially, like Kinski's trying to bait the press. He's trying to invite the pressure, yet they're not taking the bait, are they? They're holding their position. Whereas if Chelsea take the bait and all of a sudden a few passes and we can exploit that space, that's going to really suit Tottenham a lot more. I think we saw that against Villa. We got the early goal and all of a sudden Villa had to kind of force the issue a bit, and that really suited Tottenham. And all of a sudden we were playing quick passes and Villa couldn't handle it in that first half. So I think if Chelsea try and do that, plus if we're more energetic than them, we're more intense than them, we get in their faces a bit more. If they're not their 100% sharpness, I can see them making mistakes and us forcing those mistakes. And it's whether we exploit them or not, of course. But I think tactically, I do think this game probably suits us a bit more than the Leeds game.
Yeah,
we have, obviously, how many more days extra rest do we have? 5 days?
A significant amount, yeah, because we played
Monday night,
so we've got 8 days, right? And they played Saturday, and they played an FA Cup final, which took a lot out of them. Apparently, a lot of them were going down with cramp that game.
They were.
So I think that's significant. I really do. If you're going down with cramp on Saturday and you're asked to go again in a big North London derby 3 days later, I mean, I don't know. Is that fanciful thinking that they can be in full peak physical condition for 90 minutes? Are they going to have to make significant changes in the game and not play their best team? I don't know. They might have to.
Yeah, 100%. You would think so. You would think so, unless they play some of them for an hour, they make subs. But Caicedo seems to be definitely waning, and he seems to be struggling, to be honest, all season with his with that real intense physicality. He doesn't seem to be the same player he was, especially in the first half of the season. He's struggling. I think Enzo, he seems to be lacking with something recently as well. They're saying João Pedro picked up a knock, so he's been probably their best player recently, and he's struggling. I do wonder if
Is he a doubt going into the game, João Pedro?
I think so. I think that's what Lewis was saying. I don't know if we've heard from McFarlane yet.
He has. He's done his press conference, McFarlane.
So let me see. What's Premier Injury saying then about him? Chelsea injuries.
So Esteval out.
Getting Lavia, Madrid. Didn't
out.
say anything about João Pedro, to be fair. Doesn't say anything about him.
Yeah.
But I wonder if they'll go back to a back four. I wonder
how much that Brazil World Cup selection has knocked João Pedro. Because, you know, whatever you want to say about João Pedro, he has had a very good season. He's been Chelsea's best player this season from an offensive standpoint. Scored so many goals in the Premier League this year. And they're calling up Neymar ahead of him. I was, like, so shocked.
I don't think they've actually announced it yet.
I thought they have.
No, I don't.
It was an official squad.
No, I don't think it was. See, I don't think that's an official thing.
Is it not official?
No, I don't think it is. Because Neymar was asked about it on the weekend. He was like, yeah, hopefully I'll be picked. And he was like, whatever decision the manager makes, I'll respect. So I don't think it's actually been... I think this is a fake graphic. Yeah. It's yet to be released.
Oh, okay.
So I think there's these graphics circulating, but I don't think they're real.
On the flip side of that, if it is a fake graphic, which looks like it is, then he'll be playing for his World Cup squad spot.
See, now, I don't know if this is a real graphic. This was an hour ago. Oh, no, satire. That's not a real graphic. Anyway, I think, yeah, for sure. If he is playing, he's playing for that place, 100%. I reckon they probably go back to a back four. I don't know if they play a back three against us. I don't know what I'd prefer, but I think they probably revert to a back four.
So, I mean, Levi Colwell's just coming back, so I don't expect him to play 2 games in the space of 4 days. Fofana, I mean, we know his injury problems. He'll probably play, though. He'll probably be, James? James at right back? Maybe they'll move him back to right back with...
He's another one who struggles to play too in a few short space of time.
They've got so many of them, though, don't they? Like that. Cucurella will definitely play left back. Maybe you'll see a back two of Fofana and Tosin. Right back, you'll see Gusto or James. In the midfield, you're probably looking at Caicedo, Enzo, and who else?
Santos.
And Santos. And then a front three of João Pedro, Cole Palmer, and either Neto or Garnacho.
Yeah, I wonder if he changes it, if he puts Palmer back in the 10 and then puts Enzo a bit deeper, which I think would be good for us if he did that, because that would leave so much space. But he hasn't been doing that. Obviously, he's been playing Palmer off the right. But the thing is, Palmer hasn't been playing well off the right. So he could change it. Obviously, we're trying to predict based off what they've done. But Palmer's been off it, hasn't he, recently? So I do wonder for this game, does McFarlane think, okay, we're going to go out Tottenham. We're going to put Palmer down the middle, and we're going to put like Neto or something down on the right, and we're going to really go at them. I wouldn't be surprised if he does that. Yeah. But I think that might not be a bad thing, because I think Enzo and Caicedo and Palmer as a middle three, we have the physicality to dominate that, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we've got the physicality. Do we have the quality? We've seen the front line struggling. You know, even when we've been picking up points, we've seen them struggle. Like, where are these goals going to come from? How are we going to break them down? Who is going to be the player?
Well, if Palmer does play on the right, I also think that's not a bad thing, because I can't see him tracking a doggy all the way back. I don't think he'll be doing that. So I think that gives a doggy a bit of a free ride, I reckon. So we could really utilise that left-hand side, I think. That would be a side I would attack if they play Palmer on the right. Obviously, he's got to be careful leaving Palmer free, but that is something I'll definitely look at for sure. I think Tell and the doggy could definitely cause some damage there off the right-hand side. And I think just trying to physically press that midfield into submission with our midfield three, I think that would be the way to go, because Caicedo, as we said, he seems to be waning. I don't know about Andre Santos or if it's Reece James. They just don't seem to have that same intensity.
Yeah.
So that's probably been one of the biggest pluses since ZERBI's come in, just the intensity of our middle three. You could all have complaints about on the ball and stuff, which are also, I think they've been better under ZERBI, but maybe they're still not at an amazing level. But off the ball, I think that intensity they've been showing, I think that's where teams have been struggling to deal with us. Just how often we're getting in position, they're being disciplined, but they're also winning those second balls. They're not giving the opposition midfield time and space. They're struggling to do that, especially for the first hour of games. So I think that's something we just got to hone in on.
Yeah, I mean, the only problem I see is if we do concede early, right? We've seen us shit the bed, like I mentioned before. But when we do concede early, all composure seems to go out the door. We're not winning those second balls anymore. If we do concede earlier, I don't think we win this game. I think we might not even take a point if we concede early.
Yeah, if the crowd get up for it and all of a sudden Chelsea got, momentum on their side and they're going at us. And we know when they got good players, if they got momentum on with them, they can be very dangerous. And so you definitely got to be wary of that. I also think one thing we could definitely do is force their centre-backs into mistakes. 100%.
Absolutely.
You press the shit out of their centre-backs.
And you make Mr. Conor Gallagher steps
Exactly. You make it difficult for their defenders.
I have had visions of it for weeks. Conor Gallagher scoring at the bridge.
You saw against Forest, their centre-backs were making errors galore in that game. If Colwell's not fit enough, which is likely, I think you put real pressure on those centre-backs, they will. I don't think they'll stand up to scrutiny, and that's one way. And obviously, the don't know who they're going to play in goal, but their keepers can make mistakes as well, passing out the back.
It'll be Sanchez in goal.
Could be, but it could be Jorgensen.
Sanchez, did start the cup final. Sanchez has started every game. He was just not against Liverpool because he was injured.
Because he had the headband.
Yeah, he went off injured against Forest, obviously. Then he didn't start against Liverpool. Then he was back in for the cup final. So it will be Sanchez.
Well, he could be that. He's one who could definitely make mistakes. They both can. They're both not that great, in my opinion. They both.
That's why we need to test him. We need to test Sanchez. Shoot on sight kind of thing. If you have any sort of loose balls on the edge of the box, Conor Gallagher, rifle one in. Test that keeper early because he can make mistakes.
What we need to do is we need to make sure that when Chelsea are playing out the back, we are on them like a rash. And we need to make sure that if you're going to beat our press and you're going to play for us, you're going to have to be sharp and you're going to have to be perfect with your passing. And, we can't stand off them. We need to be right in their face because I think if we are on them and they're not at 100% sharpness, there are mistakes there. There are mistakes there. And if they're making mistakes and they're giving us goals, that will lower the confidence, that'll quieten the crowd, and all of a sudden, that's where we can take control.
I think there is a bit of a danger going into this game, knowing that a point keeps us safe. That, I think ZERBI has to drill it into them, saying, no, it's not a point we need. We need 3 points in this game. We can't be caught in that two minds saying, oh, we're not going to go for that because we just need a point. Sometimes you can play for a draw, and I don't like that. When you play for a draw, usually you end up losing, right? So we need to have it in our minds that a draw, we can't. A draw's not suffice. It doesn't suffice in this game. We have to go for 3 points. I don't want to see that kind of headspace where you're trying to go and play for a draw. We need to play it like it's any other game. ZERBI play his tactics, play his way. ZERBI won't be going for that draw, but it might be a mentality of the players going into this.
Yeah, I think obviously it depends on the game state. I definitely think from the start that's how we'll be playing. We're going to be going at them. We're going to try and take the lead. I think the best way to get the result is obviously to have goals in advantage. I don't think we're going to be starting that game wasting time from the 20th minute or anything like that, and just going long and just being in a low block the whole game. I don't think we do that. We go for them, and I think we're going to try and take the lead. But if it is 1-1 or 0-0 going into the last 10 minutes, I wouldn't be surprised if we do go a bit more pragmatic and just try and see it out.
I don't mind that in the last 5 minutes, holding on to what you got. But from the get-go, we need to be so aggressive. We need to go for them, like you mentioned. We just need to go for it. And I think we can win tomorrow. I really believe we can win this game. I know our record at Stamford Bridge is horrible. I know we've got PTSD playing against Chelsea. We've had good games against them and still haven't got over the line. But this is our best opportunity to go to Stamford Bridge and take all 3 points. And I think we're going to do it.
We can do it. We can definitely do it. I think if there wasn't this hoodoo, I would be confident that we can go there and win. When the hoodoos and Tottenham don't seem to do too well. So that's, psychologically, these things obviously do make a difference, but there is so much riding on this game. I think ZERBI has been one. What I like about ZERBI and what gives me hope we can win tomorrow is he's been so big on changing that mentality of the team, and he's been on it from day one, changing the mentality, what's it called, changing the narrative in these players' minds about where they are, what's happening, and all this kind of stuff. And I think the players have really bought into that. So I don't think De Zerbi's going to care that we've got this bad record at Stamford Bridge. I don't think he's going to be even mentioning it. I don't think it's going to be a thing. He's going to be telling these players, doesn't matter what this record is, we can go there and win. We have to go there confident. We've got a team good enough to go there and win. And I think that's going to get us the result that we need.
Well, let's get the job done tomorrow night, people. Let's get the job done. Let's put into the back of our minds this relegation talk. And let's go into that last game of the season against Everton with not a care in the world, where it doesn't matter if we lose, doesn't matter if we win. We know we're going to be playing Premier League football next season. So massive night tomorrow night. You've got big watch-alongs. Come and join the watch-along tomorrow with Himothy and Ashmatic. Me and Sim both going to be at Stamford Bridge tomorrow. Yeah,
if we do get a result tomorrow, is that would that rank as a great night for Tottenham? Obviously, in the context, yes.
It's not a great night for Tottenham.
Huh?
It's not a great night for Tottenham.
No.
We're getting away with it this season.
But would it be a night you look back on as an iconic night?
That amazing night that we survived in the Premier League at Stamford Bridge. No,
yeah, but let's say we won, a last-minute winner to secure survival.
That's all great. Whenever you, even if there's nothing to play for.
I know, but would that not be an iconic moment?
Bridge. Iconic? Nah.
No? Why not?
Not for me. Iconic. Surviving in the Premier League, iconic.
Yeah, but we talk about Klinsmann saving us from the Premier League. That was iconic.
I think the iconic thing about Klinsmann was his celebration and his dive celebration, because he came into the Premier League and everyone's like, all he does is dive.
No, but he scored 4 at Wimbledon when we were in a relegation battle. People still remember that, don't they?
Yeah, but Spurs were in a very different situation back then. We were a different club.
I know, but the point
We're in the
is,
Champions League final not long ago. We won the Europa League last season. I'm not having that. Staying in the Premier League against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge is going to be an iconic moment. It'll be great. It'll be a great night, and I'll enjoy it very much. But iconic, nah.
But it's one of those moments in Premier League years will be one of the big moments of the season. It's like one of those things where, because this could be so. I understand it's been a horrible season, but there are still moments that still live long in memory, don't they? And iconic means that that's something you remember for a long time as a special moment. And if we do secure survival at Stamford Bridge, as painful as the season has been, that could be a moment you remember, especially if we go on to turn it around under ZERBI.
If we survive against Chelsea and we score a last-minute winner, a last-minute equaliser, wherever it may be, it'll be amazing for the night. But every single part of this season, I am going to want to forget very, very quickly and build
apart from
on
that
next
day.
Season, even that day.
I don't think so.
Forget it all. I don't want anything to do with this season. It has been a shambles from start to finish, and surviving at Stamford Bridge ain't going to change that for me. It's really not.
No one disagrees. I'm talking about, would that game, if it happens tomorrow, would it be an iconic moment?
I've told you, I don't think so.
Why not? Okay, we'll agree to disagree. I think it could be. I think it'll be. It depends how it goes, but I think it could be a day that we look back on as that could have been a sliding doors moment. And if it goes in our favour, and then we turn it around, we'll look back on that. Or we'll look back on Tuesday as the day that that saved us, and then we can turn it around.
Yeah, it's definitely the day that saved us, but. Like I said, I don't ever want to remember anything from this season ever again. I really don't. But look, I get what you're saying. I do get what you're saying. But let's just hope we get the job done tomorrow night and we can celebrate on the night and then never have to think about relegation ever again.
100%.
Let's hope so. But look, that is it. We'll be there at Stamford Bridge tomorrow, so very much looking forward to that. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We'll see you all tomorrow, people. Big, big day. Big day.
Massive.
Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.